And I know for myself that when I do visualize something that I want to have, that I make sure that I'm just as happy with what I have already, and that I'm not unhappy if that does not manifest.
Well, you're definitely in the 1% or less than 1% of people that are visualizing. I can tell you that right now.
Well, it's the only way it works for me, because if I get attached to the results, then it seems to screw it up somehow. It just doesn't work. So by being happy without whatever it is that I am trying to create, and being fine with myself as I am right now, then it seems to open a door for the universe to bring something in, sometimes in unexpected ways that I haven't visualized.
Yes, you're definitely in I would say, the rare crowd of people when using it. And now you may have been doing it unconsciously and not really knowing you were doing it, but you were doing it the right way.
Oh, okay.
But just from my seminars and my talks, I can say that 99% of people, even the seasoned people who have read most of the most popular books on the subject, they don't know about it. They come up to me after the seminar and said, "Wow, what you really told me, I never really knew before." So it just lets me know that the information is just not out there. And so hopefully, with my book that I'm able to release out, it really will clear the subject up and really give people a new new point of view of looking at the law of attraction than what they already know.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Now, with the people that you've talked to and the feedback you've gotten so far, how did you test your theories, and what have the results been? Have you had people write back and say, I used this I used it and I got this, that, and the other thing, or what has been the feedback that you've gotten from the people that you've been sharing this with?
Well, the feedback has been absolutely phenomenal. If you go to Amazon and type in, total law of attraction, you read a lot of the reviews people have written. I mean, the results have just been amazing. People have told me in detail what they were able to manifest and things of the sort, what they're able to accomplish. Or if you go to my website, totallawofattraction.com, under testimonials, I kind of list out a lot of them, not all of it, of course, I have too much, in the mailbox, but of the most relevant reviews that I've received from people, not just in the United States, but from countries like Cambodia, the United Kingdom. Someone from Ireland wrote me back, and then she, thanked me in Irish, which I couldn't understand Gaelic, but she wrote me a real nice testimonial about what she was able to attract and, her journey through it, how she wasn't able to understand a lot of the law of attraction books before, but how mine made it the most sense to her. And just people from all over the world, almost, in a sense, have written back and given me feedback. And if you go to, like I said, if you go to Amazon or if you go to the website, it's kind of listed all there. I kind of put it in a really nice, organized format. So anybody going on there, they're able to read, the success stories that people have had once they applied the information that was kind of explained to them how to manifest what they want.
Mm. Did you get any people that got the opposite of what they were trying to get, or any strange feedback like that?
That's a very, very good question, and so far I have not yet, but knock on wood.
No.
Knock on wood so far, though. But here's something, with that question, though, with that being said, there is something I want to bring up also, which is really important, too, which is never mentioned about. Remember, everything in this world, nothing is 100%, as we all know.
Right.
Well, except Benjamin Franklin, you would say death and taxes. But besides that, nothing is 100% in this world. A basketball player shoots never 100%. No one's ever 100%. This 100% world, it would be great. But we all know nothing in this world is 100%. And that includes the law of attraction. Nothing is 100%. This is not, what I'm going to say now is not in any law of attraction book, because it would be considered, I guess, not the right thing to say, but what I'm going to say now is this. The law of attraction, you can use it to get a lot of great things, but just like anything else in this world, it's not going to be 100%. There might be times where you're going to try to manifest something, and due to the nature of what you want or what you're trying to get, it may not manifest. So it may work 80% of the time, and 20% of the time it might not work for you, what you're trying to get. But if something's working for you 80% of the time, would you still not want to use it and learn it and use it? You see?
Yeah. Well,
and so if your basketball player's free throw percentage is 50%, and I tell you, well, I can teach you my way and I can get you 80%, wouldn't you want to learn that? You see?
Sure.
So when you bring that up to you say, has anybody written anything negative back? Well, it may happen in the future because nothing in this world is 100%. And well, the techniques I'm giving you are going to work probably 80 to 90% of the time. Maybe the 20 to 10% of the time, it might not work. So
those aren't bad odds.
That's to be expected. Yes.
That's not bad odds at all. And,
yes.
and that 10 to 20% allows for what, as I understand it, there is such a thing as the law of accident, where, you know, when you're not fully conscious of yourself and just simply operating in kind of an automatic mode, that you are under more laws that could create something accidentally. So that could partially explain the idea of an accident at a stop sign.
Yes.
You know, that if you're not present, you know, and you're thinking of 10,000 things, and you got the cell phone and a cup of coffee, and on the other hand, you're steering the car with your knee, you might be under more of the law of accidents. You know, you might have a tendency to be in a situation that you didn't expect.
Yes, yes.
So
that's a very good explanation. Yes, it may account for all the other things that can happen, which can, you know, possibly hinder the attraction process.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what about on the spiritual levels? Does this kind of material work for? I mean, let's just say somebody wants to have some kind of spiritual awareness, or they want to develop their consciousness, or they want to be closer to enlightenment. Would they be able to apply these principles to something in the spiritual realms?
Most definitely. Now, again, because we're neutral, I'm not going to, you know, really gravitate towards any religion or anything like that. But for all practical purposes, since I refer to in my book, I refer to the Buddha a lot, Buddhism.
Yeah.
You know, if you notice that the techniques that they're using all the time has a lot to do with the law of attraction.
Yeah.
You know, because most of the Buddhists believe that, you know, there's this supreme Buddha. You know, as just an example here, who has a really, how do I say, a pure land, a very heavenly land that's above any land, you know, above any place in the universe. This place of ultimate happiness, which is, you know, hundreds of light years away from their earth. But, you know, they believe that by visualizing, you know, and feeling on this Buddha with faith, you know, just like anything else, over and over again, that at the time of death, that one will be transported to this land of ultimate happiness. You know, and so basically, if you look at their steps that they're using, when you look at what they're teaching, is basically the steps that I outline. Because what I outline in my book is to attract anything successfully comes down to 4 main steps. With the first being thought, added with the second step is emotion. Third is belief in that thought and emotion, and the last step is taking action at the right time. And so these 4 steps can be used to you know, in my opinion, to manifest anything if you follow them in the right order and know how to successfully do what I'm telling you to do. Now, applying it to the spiritual sense, the Buddhists tell you that you should think about this Buddha, think about this, you know, spiritual being, have the emotion associated with it, you know. Third is belief in it. And taking action is actually meditating all the time on this.
All right.
You see? So this is following the right straight line with anything else that you're doing on a spiritual level, except that, you know, this doesn't really, you don't really see the results of this until the time of passing.
I imagine, I love a lot of what Buddha has brought into the world, and I relate most to that and to Zen Buddhism, but you know, I'm not attached to any particular one thing, but that makes more sense to me, especially when he speaks about deep non-attachment.
Yes.
And walking the middle path, and that does seem like an important aspect of maintaining one's balance. When we attach ourselves to something, we get attached, or there's a pull or a desire, and then there's unhappiness unless we fulfill it. So then we're kind of stuck in the wheel cage, or the rat cage, or the hamster cage is what I was trying to say. You know, until we have the thing that we think is going to make us happy, we're spinning our wheels. But if we walk in that middle path and not be attached, then it's all right. Things will come to you, and the world will come up and manifest, and then it will leave, and it's just kind of it seems like it's more kind of a cosmic thing.
Yes. I mean, I think there's a lot of, definitely also, too, a lot of similarities between, quote, quote, the law of attraction and Buddhism because if you think about it, I mean, the Buddha taught for 49 years, on the earth. And if there was one take-home message that the Buddha had before, he left, and that was one word, just non-attachment, or how we would say it, detachment, non-attachment. That's the take-home message at the end of all the teachings. And so if you can teach someone for 49 years all these teachings and come out with one word of non-attachment or detachment, one can reason how important detachment is to, how I mentioned it before, to the law of attraction. To successfully attract what you want, you have to be detached from what it is you want. And so, like I said, it sounds like a contradictory statement, but once you really study more into it, learn more about it, it's going to make more sense to you.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like the idea that a lot of things are paradoxical, but they're true. So you have to be able to hold two different ideas or concepts in your mind that on the surface may seem contradictory, but once you understand the logistics of it, they're actually working together in harmony. Exactly.
Yep. Exactly.
So, yeah, and it's not easy to live in the question mark or in paradox because, the left brain wants answers, and it's kind of linear, and it wants to know what's going on and how does this work and so on and so forth. But the intuitive side is a little bit easier to live with without knowing everything and without knowing how things are going to manifest, that just knowing that they will.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work being done now on left brain, right brain thinking, and connecting that to quantum physics and stuff. And your book sounds like it just ties into all of that.
Yes, and it's designed not to overwhelm the reader with quantum physics, but to just, there are plenty of books out there in quantum physics. There's plenty of books out there that's going to go so in detail, but mine is just to be just very down to earth, very practical. I mean, you should be able to read it in an hour or less and then start applying it immediately without having to scratch your head about wondering what's going on.
Because sometimes I'm just like a simpleton, and if things get too complex and I've got to stop and think about them, and then I've got to analyze it, it just doesn't work. But if you can take cosmic laws that you've studied and kind of bring them into a format that is easy and to digest, then you've really done something wonderful for people.
Yeah, that's my plan. That was my objective from the beginning, and hopefully time will tell to see if I have accomplished my mission here.
Well, now, you obviously have had results in your own life because, as you said, you were born, I also was born not in extreme poverty, but at the lower end of the scale. And so, I was always wondering about some of the questions that you probably had when you were about 11. Some of your dreams, maybe many of them, have come true as a result of your awareness and applying what you know. Do you want to share some of that and what your own experiences might have been?
Yeah, sure. Of course, when I was a lot younger and using this information, I wasn't fully aware of what I was doing, because I don't understand the concepts as deep as I do now. But when I was using it, and I always tell people this is one of the first examples of when I first successfully started to understand and use it, is around when I was probably, I would say, 11 or 12 years old. It was a big deal in that time for all the neighborhood kids to have this special racing bicycle.
Oh.
And so at that time, that was a lot of money for most families to have one. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of felt left out of all the group of kids because I didn't have this bicycle. And so what I would do is, long story short, I would visualize this bicycle all the time, again, with emotion, but again, not knowing fully what I was doing. Mm. And then I realized later on that I kind of forgotten about it. I let it go and said, well, like I said, I didn't know I was doing it at the time, but I was detaching from the bicycle. Oh. I was saying, okay, well, now maybe it's just something that would be out of my reach, but I'm just as happy without it as I am with it.
Right.
And so I kind of let it go, and later on, out of the blue,